Welcome to the Payback Team training call. This is the call where we're going to go over objections and rebuttals, and we're going to make you better on the phones. So we're going to go over all the objections for setting the appointment. A lot of times when we're new agents, we have we call older leads. Why? Because they're cheaper. Number one, main factor, right? I mean, they're older leads, and so they should be cheaper. So we want to definitely call those, but there's a lot of times where there's people that maybe they couldn't afford it at that time. And so they wanted to put it on the back burner. And so they didn't get a policy that was able to help them. Or maybe they talked to an agent that wasn't able to get around their objections. And maybe one of their objections was, I can't afford it, or I don't have time right now. That's a major objection when we live in this busy world, right? And if they can't afford it right now, or they don't have time right now, maybe you go to follow up with them and now they know your number and they're not going to answer the phone, right? So we definitely want to work the older leads because there's policies, there's families there that can be helped. With the older leads, you're definitely going to get a lot more objections, okay? And that's what we're going to go over today is the objections, okay? And we're going to make you better so that you can set more appointments and help the clients understand that, look, I'm the guy, I'm the person, I'm the gal that can help you, okay? So by getting over the objections and learning the rebuttals, you're going to be able to set more appointments. And because you set more appointments, now you can run more presentations because the reality of it is with other IMOs and other agencies out there, they don't, a lot of them are captive agents and a lot of them only have one carrier, or maybe they have, just three carriers. They have a minimum amount of carriers. But here at FFL, we have access to about 45 carriers. All we have to do is get contracted with them. Okay. And so we have a policy for everybody, and that's the main purpose, right? If they have cancer, we have a policy for it. If they have a brain tumor, we have a policy for it. I just got a gal covered the other day that just bought a policy 3 weeks ago. The max she could get is $10,000. And she was pretty upset because she couldn't find any higher coverage than that. Why couldn't she find any higher coverage? Well, she's 57 years old and she was diagnosed with brain cancer. So she knows that her life is not going to be prolonged, so to say. And she knows that, she wants to leave something behind to everybody. So I was able to get her a policy with $25,000 of coverage. Okay. So we always want to be, and here's the reality. People filled out these leads, so they want coverage. But of course, times are tough, things happen, and we have, we're in the middle of busy times. It's never the best timing, and we're adding a bill to the client's budget anyways. And the reality of it is they can't see it, right? It's going to go to their beneficiary. So they're going to give us objections, why they don't want it now, why they want it, but they don't want to pay for it now, why, they don't have time to set an appointment, everything comes up. So that's what we're going to go over today is how to get around the objections. Specifically, this call is going to be specifically for setting appointments. We'll do another call later on down the road about objections when we get into the presentation. But a lot of times you can take these same objections and use them for the presentation as well, because in the presentation, a lot of the same objections are going to come up. And really, it just goes right back to finding the pain, finding why they need the coverage, why they want the coverage. And when you put it in perspective for them, a lot of times they're like, okay, let's do it, right? So I'm going to share my screen with you. And I created this document off of what I've learned just from being in the insurance industry. Not every single one of these objections is perfect, but they all work for me, right? And so if they work for me, they could work for you too. And if you don't know any better, always start with something that is proven. And then after you master that, Then if you want to change it or tweak it a little bit, change it or tweak it, make it your own, right? Um, Here's the rule of thumb. Whenever you get an objection, okay, I want to start with this because a lot of times when people get an objection, they feel like the client is pushing, right? And they're kind of pushing back a little bit, but a lot of times people want to just jump on them right then and there, and the client then feels like, oh, he's causing contention or she's causing contention. And so then they want to argue back and forth. And really, with an objection and a rebuttal, objection, rebuttal, all you have to do is answer the problem. What is an objection? It's just a problem that they have or they think they have. And a rebuttal is just an answer to the problem. Then you're just going to move around and go right, continue on with the conversation. Okay. So when somebody gives you an objection, they have a wall that's put up. They feel like, well, I can't go any further because of this. Well, this is become in their tracks. That's what they're thinking, right? And so when you first call them, a lot of times they're going to say this, I got to go, call me later. I'm in the middle of work, call me later, right? That's a famous objection everybody's going to get. We live in a busy day. People are working during the day, especially if you're calling mortgage leads, they're still working. And that's fine, right? And the client thinks, oh, I'm just going to tell them this and it's going to stop them in their tracks and then they'll call me later. That's what they think, but that's not the way it happens. Okay, so what do you say if somebody says, I got to go, call me later? Well, the first thing you're always going to do to bring down that wall is just to say perfect, right? Or no problem. I understand. Those three words right there, you don't have to say all three of them, but just pick one. Perfect. That right there lets them know, okay, he agrees with me. And if you agree with them, it's going to break down that wall to help them feel more comfortable with continuing the conversation. Because the reality of it is if they don't feel comfortable continuing the conversation with you, guess what's going to happen? Click. And then you're done. Can you call them back? Yeah, you can call them back till you're blue in the face. They won't pick up the phone, right? So we want to get them to lower their wall and lower their guard, so to say, and help them feel comfortable with us. So a lot of times when you put yourself in their shoes or become as one with them, then they will break down the wall and they will talk to you in a calm manner. Right? There's times where I've had this rebuttal lots of times, or this objection not lots of times, I shouldn't say that, but I've had this objection a few times. Well, I've had the objection lots of times, but a few times when I've gotten it, I've been able to get around it and I've done a one call close and got them on, just kept talking to them and literally found a policy to get them coverage right away, day one coverage. And the first thing they said to me when I called them was, call me later. I don't have time right now. Right? So, I mean, really, it just depends on how you talk to people and are with you. Because the number one reason why they buy is simply because they buy you. The second reason they buy is because they like the value of the product. And the third reason why they buy is because they like the price. So if you can match all three of those, then I guarantee you're going to get your close ratio is going to go up. You're going to be able to help more families get protected, and you're going to be able to help your paycheck and your family as well, right? So let's go through these here. First objection, I got to go. Call me later. Perfect, no problem. I'm actually heading out the office myself. I got to go to lunch right now. I'm running late, but I just got the information. Real quick, the purpose of the call is to set up a time to go over your options with you. And then don't pause, go straight to setting the appointment, right? Now on this one, you can't do a one call close. Why? Well, they're busy. We already know they can't do a one call close, right? So essentially you just want to go into setting the appointment. Not going into setting the appointment call. Yeah, you can. Never hurts, right? And in this case, what I would say is something like, hey, actually, I do have a few minutes before my next appointment. Do you have a few minutes right now? This doesn't take too long to go over your options with you. And then you just go right into a one call close. Okay. You can do that with any type of lead, right? You can do a one call close with a final expense. You can do it with a mortgage protection. You can do it with an IUL. I've done all three. Okay. The more ambitious you are about it and believe that you can do it, more you're going to get, right? What's worst case scenario? You go into the one call close and they say, you know what? I don't have much time anymore. I got to leave in like 5 minutes. Okay, no problem. Just set the appointment at that point in time, right? Okay. So this says right here, don't pause, go straight into setting the appointment. All of it right down here, or all of that is listed right down here in setting the appointment. Okay. Go to one call close. Real quick. Now, I'm going to explain this one time and this one time, and then we'll just continue on with the objection. So when you go into the appointment, if you want to do a one call close, what we want to do is get them something that is going to give them an action step right now. And so a lot of times what I'll do is I'll make them grab a pen and paper. If they grab a pen and paper and they're like, okay, I got a pen and paper here, now they're ready for the appointment. Now they're going to sit down as well. Because if you have a pen and paper, are you going to stand up and walk around? No, you're going to sit down at a table and you're going to be waiting for something to write. So a lot of times in a one call close, I'll say, okay, real quick, do you have a pen and paper handy? I'm required by the state to give you my license number. And they'll say, okay, let me grab a pen and paper. Yep, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And my name is Shawn Simpson. By the way, what's a good email for you so I can email you over my credentials as well? And then go to, I don't know why this one opened up. Oh, here, let me put it on this one. So I changed a few things. This is the one that I want open. This down here is the same, by the way. You guys didn't miss anything. I'll close the other one later. I just got a little confused. I was like, wait a minute. So then go and right after you send them the email, you're going to send them an email with a copy of the carriers that you have, a picture of you, and a picture of your license. Now, if you have a CRM that has a website all set up, you don't even have to have them go to your email. You can just text them over the link and have them open that and then walk them through that website. You want them to lay eyes on your license. And that's going to help you build credibility. And it's also going to help you down the road when you're filling out the application. They're going to feel more comfortable with giving you that personal information, the license or the driver's license number, the social security number, bank account information that you're going to need for the policy, right? So then right after you go through there, then you're going to start finding the why. Now this is where you ask the questions. Now this particular phrase here is not necessarily specific to any type of appointment, right? And you guys can ad lib and put in your own verbiage. But here, this is a good question. Now, most people fill these out because they're either they want to add coverage to or put something more in place to protect their family from a financial burden. Which one were you looking at? You know, it's a multiple choice question. And that's another one for a final expense. Maybe, you know, most people fill these out because they don't want to leave a financial burden to a loved one for a cremation or a burial. Which one were you thinking? Well, I was thinking about being buried. I mean, they have to answer the question, right? What else are they going to do? Disappear into space, right? So they could have their body donated to science, I suppose. But I mean, then they're not going to fill out the form, right? Because that's free. So either way, that's how you go into a one call close. Now, if they can't do it, then what you're going to do is just set the appointment. And you guys know the appointment setting script. What time do you and the wife get back in the door from work? 5:30. Great. I don't have time, or I'm sorry, I don't have that time available, but I do have a 6 p.m. As far as you know right now, if I called at, you know, you can even ask, does that work for you? Yeah. As far as you know right now, if I called at 6 p.m., would you both be available for a quick phone call to go over your options? Yeah. The only thing I ask is that you have a pen and paper handy because I'm going to go over some important information that you're definitely going to want to write down. Okay. Due to my schedule being super busy, can you please give me about a 15 to 30 minute window But if I do get finished up a little bit early, is it okay to call you a tad bit early? Yes. Great. We'll chat tonight, tomorrow at 7:30, whatever. Okay. So that's how you go and just set the appointment. All right. So right down here, so now we're going to go back up here and talk about these other objections. Okay. Another objection you may get while setting the appointment is, I already got it taken care of. How many people that you've called that the leads are 6 months old, 9 months old, and they say, well, I've already got it taken care of. And then you dig a little bit and you find out they don't have nothing taken care of. They're just trying to get you off the phone. Or maybe they do have it taken care of and they're not super happy with it. So this is what you say. Perfect. Right here. Perfect. Most of my clients do have some coverage in place. Can I ask you, what carrier did you sign up with? I don't remember. Or I think it was a company called out of Omaha, Mutual of Omaha. Yeah. Okay. Do you mind me asking how much you're paying for it? No matter what they say, just say, ooh, is that affordable for you? They say yes. Just say, okay, do you have an illness or a disease? The reason why I ask, because I'm a broker, I have access to about 15 A-rated carriers nationwide. That allows me to shop around for you, customize something that best fits your needs and your situation, and most importantly, your budget. And look, Joan, if I can find something of better value for you, great. If not, no problem. Fair enough? If they say yes, you got an appointment. If they say no, I'm not interested, go to the next call, right? We can't get around everybody. You can also ask them if they say no. You can also say, okay, do you mind if I ask you why you wouldn't want to look for better coverage? Well, I don't want to go for, whatever they say, you can just say, well, it only takes a few minutes. And if I can find something for you, great. If not, no problem. Just go right back to the end of it. Because most of the time, if they do say no after that, then the reason why is because they don't want to go through the process again. So if we help them understand that it won't take that long, then a lot of times you may have a better chance. So whatever they say right after that. Now you're going to notice this part right here is in a lot of these rebuttals. And the reason why is because this is my most favorite rebuttal. It literally covers a ton of stuff. Okay, right here. Where's it at? The reason why I ask, here we go. This is the main rebuttal that I use for the majority of everything. The reason why I ask is because I'm a broker. I have access to 15 plus A-rated carriers nationwide. Now, if you have more carriers, say more, say 20, say 30, whatever. You can actually say 45 because you do have access to 45 carriers through FFL. All you have to do is get contracted with them. Doesn't take that long. Okay. So that allows, so by saying this, I'm going to break this down for you so you guys understand why I say this. By saying this phrase, the majority of the time is because when they know that I have access to 30 plus carriers, that takes away the shopping time, right? How many times do you guys need to buy something? You know it's going to cost you an arm and a leg, and instead of going to just buy it, you don't want to spend a lot of money on it. So you're looking for the best deal possible. And sometimes it takes time. Well, think about this. I mean, this is like a house, right? If you're going to go buy a house, you're going to shop around to find the best value of the house, the best location, the best property, the best condition, and the best price. A house costs a lot of money. Well, so does life insurance if you pay for it over a period of time. And how long are these guys paying for it? They're paying for it for years, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. So by telling them that you have access to 15 to 20 plus A-rated carriers nationwide, that takes that burden off of their mind that they have to go shop around. Okay. And so now I'm going to tell them right now in this second sentence why that benefits them. That allows me to shop around for you, okay? Pause right there. So I'm going to shop around for them. Now, guess what? That also eliminates all the competition. Okay. All the competition that they're doing, shopping around, talking to all these other agents, they don't have to do it no more because I'm going to be their guy. And that's what you want. You want them to come to you for everything. Okay. So that allows me to shop around for you, customize something that best fits your needs, your situation, right? So now I'm going to customize something that fits their needs specifically for them and their situation. If they have brain cancer, if they have diabetes, right? No matter what it is. And most importantly, their budget. Now, here's the main thing right here. When people want life insurance, what's the first thing that's on their mind? How much is it going to cost? Every single time. If life insurance was free, everybody'd sign up for it. Every single person would sign up for it. If life insurance was mandatory, you still had to pay for it. Guess what? They would get it, but they're going to shop around, right? Same thing. But if we understand, if they know that we understand that most importantly, your budget, so to us, most importantly is their budget. Now it breaks down another wall that I understand that their budget is first and foremost. Okay. So now I'm just going to give them a way out because when you give people a way out, sometimes they don't go. If you have a well-trained dog and you open that door, the dog's not going to go out the door unless you go out there with it. Right. And so if you help them understand that you really care and you really want to help them, a lot of times they won't go out that door. They'll stay right with you. And so then this question pops up. And look, Bertha, if I can find something of better value for you, great. If not, no problem. Is that fair enough? Or is that okay? If they say yes, boom, you got an appointment. Easy appointment. Okay. You just gave them a way out and they said yes. Okay. If they say no, you can just ask them, if you don't mind me asking, can I just ask you why? I mean, just straight up ask them. Sometimes you don't have to be fancy with your verbiage. Just ask them why, kindly and professionally. And they'll tell you, well, I just don't want to go through this again. I don't want to talk to another agent, right? I'm tired of looking for this. I mean, everybody has different reasons. Okay. All right. Next one. I'm already meeting with another agent. Perfect. Now this one, hint, hint, you definitely want to try to do a one-call close. Why? Because if they already have an appointment with another agent and you do a one-call close, guess what? They don't have to meet with the other agent because you got them taken care of. Okay, so you definitely want to try to do a one-call close if they say, I'm already meeting with another agent. Perfect. Now, Bertha, most families send back multiple requests because, whoops, sorry. Most family, what did I do here? There we go. Now, Bertha, most families send back multiple requests to look at different options, compare and make sure that they have the best plan for their family. Is it fair to assume that you and your wife would want the same thing? Now, here's what I do. I do this a little bit differently. This is just an open-ended question. It's a yes or no. 50% may say no, right? Well, guess what? I'm going to answer for them, but I'm not going to answer for them. I'm going to let my wife do it. Okay. Is it fair to assume you and your wife would want the same thing? I know my wife would. In fact, I have a few minutes right now before my next appointment. Do you have a few minutes right now to go over your options with you? There you go. Yes. Okay. Then you continue to a one call close, right? No, I don't. No problem. No problem. I only had a few minutes anyways. What time do you and the wife usually get back in the door from work? Now you're just going to go and set the appointment. Okay. So that's how you get around meeting with another agent. How much does it cost? This guy is going to be shopping on price, right? But don't let that fool you. Most people really would have value over price unless their budget says otherwise. Okay. Now, how do you determine what their budget is? Well, you're going to have to go through that financial inventory to find out how much income they have, how much expenses they have, and then what's that gap in between there to show how much extra income they have. Because if they have $500 a month extra income, yeah, they're probably shopping on price. So for what's most important to them is the price over value. But if they have $5,000 of monthly income, maybe value is more important than the price. Okay. Either way, you can still get them coverage. So how do you answer that? That's a great question. I wish I could tell you right off the bat. That would make my job a lot easier. But everything is based off of age and health. And this isn't something that you can just go out and buy. You have to qualify for it. But to make your life easier, I'm a broker. I'm going to change this. I forgot about this one. And I'm going to put it in right up here. Same thing. Okay. Right here. I'll send you guys out the updated version in the Discord chat. Okay. But to make your life easier, let me put it right here. So to make your life easier, I'm a broker. I have access to 15 plus A-rated carriers nationwide that allows me to shop around for you, customize something that best fits your situation, your needs, but most importantly, fit your budget. And look, Bertha, if I can find something that works for you, great. If not, no problem. Is that fair enough? Yes. Okay. I got a few minutes right now, actually, before my next appointment. Do you have a few minutes to go over your options? Yeah. Boom. One call closed. Get right into it. Email them your credentials right off the bat. That way they feel comfortable with you. You can have them write down your license number so that get them into an action step that we talked about earlier. And as soon as you do that, they grab a pen and paper. Now you know that they're serious. If they, don't grab a pen and paper, maybe they're not so serious, but obviously you want to continue on. Can you send me a quote in an email? That's a great question, right? We're just breaking down the wall and we're staying calm the whole time. A lot of new agents just get super serious and start worrying, oh, they're going to hang up on me right after they give you an objection. Just have a normal conversation with them, Can you send me a quote in an email? That's a great question. Actually, I wish I could do that. It would make my job a lot easier, but everything is based off of your age and your health, and this isn't something that you can just go buy. You have to actually qualify for it. So to make your life easier, I'm a broker. I have access to about 15 plus A-rated carriers nationwide. Now you guys are kind of getting the hint, right? It just this same phrase right here literally takes care of almost everything. The only thing that's different is your first couple of sentences, right? On almost every objection. That's the only thing that's really different. Okay. I don't have time this week. Can you call me back next week? Perfect. I definitely understand being busy as we're super backed up right now. In fact, my schedule is booked for the next couple of weeks, but I know how important this is to you and your family. So I wanted to reach out and see if I could squeeze you in. In fact, I got a few minutes right now. That's why I'm calling you right now. Or I got a few minutes right now before my next appointment. Do you have a few minutes right now? It's not going to take too long. Yes. Go into one call close. No. Go straight to setting the appointment. Okay. I've gotten so many calls about this. That's exactly why I'm calling. Guaranteed they didn't expect that. That's exactly why I'm calling, is to get you taken off the list. Oops. Gosh darn it. Most families typically fill out a couple of requests to shop and compare and make sure that they get the best plan for their family. So to make your life easier, I'm a broker. I have access to about 15 carriers nationwide. This allows me and blah, 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 right? We're just going to do the same thing every single time. Now, here's one for somebody that has amnesia, right? We probably get a lot of those. Maybe they have Alzheimer's. They can't remember how they filled it out. Or maybe it was just too long ago. I totally understand. I don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning. To refresh your memory, you put down your date of birth as blah, 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 and your address is blah, 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 blah. Is that correct? Now, time out. If this is a final expense, you may have both of these. If this is a mortgage, you're probably not going to have the date of birth, but you'll have the address. I have your address as blah, 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 blah. Families send this back in. Um, send back the request that you did. Wait, families that send back the request that you did want to make sure that when they die, that there is no financial hardship or struggle among family members, especially if there's a household involved. My job is just to go over your options and to make your life easier. I'm a broker. I have access to about 15 plus A-rated carriers, blah, 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 right? Now, right here, okay, right here, if you're dialing mortgage, okay, this is more like final expense, but if you're dialing mortgage, you may want to put in there to refresh your memory. This is the type of coverage that if something were to happen to you, if you get hurt, sick, or injured, it'll pay off the mortgage and protect your family. Then continue on, don't stop. My job is to just get your options out to you and to make your life easier. I'm a broker. I have access to about 15, blah, 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 right? I'm no longer interested. Perfect. I know this was originally important to you, like it is for every family that sends back these requests. Are you no longer interested because you don't believe that you can afford it or you don't think you'll qualify? It's a multiple choice question, right? Why do we ask multiple choice questions? Because because it leads the brain to answer one of the questions. If they want to answer back something that's not the answer already, in the multiple choice question, I just gave them the answer, right? They just have to pick one. And if they want to answer something other than that, it takes a little bit more work for the brain to come up with a different option, right? So we're just kind of leading them down the path. Is it because you can't afford it, or do you think you won't qualify? I can't afford it. I totally get it. Times are tough these days. So to make your job easier, I'm a broker. I have access to about 15 plus A-rated carriers, right? You can use the same rebuttal over and over and over again. So I'm going to recommend to you guys, memorize this. It's what, 3 sentences? Memorize it. You guys memorize that, and I promise you, you're going to figure out ways to use this that you've never, ever used before in your life. Now, what if they say, I don't think I can qualify? I totally get it. But to make your life easier, I'm a broker. I have access to 15 A-rated carriers, right? And if they don't think they can qualify, this is the part of this sentence that's going to get them. I have access to 15 plus A-rated carriers. That allows me to shop around for you, customize something that best fits your needs, your situation, and most importantly, your budget, right? But right here, their budget isn't a problem because they don't think they're going to qualify. Okay, up here, their budget is the problem, but guess what? I can still shop around for them and customize something that fits their needs, their situation, and most importantly, their budget. So this little rebuttal goes a long way, almost for everything. No, I'm just not interested. Take me off the list. Okay, now this one will come after you give them a rebuttal most of the time. So they give you an objection, you give them a rebuttal, and then they're just going to come flat out and be like, no, I'm just not interested. Take me off the list. Okay, you're still on the phone with them. Give it another shot. You can always say, okay, and then hang up, right? But what happens? You just lost that client. But if you give it another shot, they may still hang up on you, but you may get the appointment. You never know unless you try, right? And if you get the appointment, then you can help protect that family, and then you can put some money in your pocket. Perfect. I'm not interested either. I know You love your family, as I do, and protecting your family was originally important to you. Can I ask, are you really not interested in protecting your family, or are you not interested in talking to another salesperson? Okay, so this one's a little bit different. Now, whatever they say, no worries. I'm not a salesperson and I have no fancy sales pitch. I have access to about 15 A-rated carriers nationwide, and then so on and so forth, right? The big question that's always going to get them on this rebuttal, same thing. If not, no problem. Is that fair enough? And once they say yes, you have an appointment every single time, right? And in fact, I have a few minutes right now before my next appointment. Do you have a few minutes right now? It doesn't take long. You can go right into a one call close. Okay. So, um, so memorize this. I have access to 15 plus or 20 plus, 30 plus, doesn't matter. Pick a number of how many carriers you want to tell them you have. I always say 30 plus. And then just memorize this, and you can use this for almost every single rebuttal. The only thing that changes is depending on what they say back to you, and that is the first part of it. Okay. But we always want to get to this part right here where we ask them, is that fair enough? If they say yes, boom, you have an appointment every single time. Okay. So these are the rebuttals here that we have. I'm going to save this in a PDF once we get off this call, and then I'll put it in the Discord chat, and then you guys can have it. Okay. Save it, put it in front of you while you're dialing if you want to. Remember, the goal is to get 10 appointments a day. Okay. Once that becomes the standard and that becomes comfortable to you, I promise you, you're going to get more presentations, and I promise you, you're going to be able to help more families. Okay. So now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to stop the share and I'm going to open it up. Okay. Because if you guys have some rebuttals that are not on here, maybe you're having a struggle of a rebuttal that you hear all the time that we didn't go over. I want to help you get around it. So I'm going to open it up and see if you guys um, have anything. Just go ahead and unmute if you have a question or if you have a rebuttal. Anyone? Anyone?
Yeah, I have one.
Okay, Sophie,
Do I just
what you
say
got
like
for me?
what the rebuttal is? Um,
Objections.
sorry? The objection, sorry. I just say what the objection is?
Yeah,
Just say what the objection is?
yeah.
Right. I got one yesterday that's like, oh, I'm not interested. I have a policy. And I asked like, oh, about the policy, and he's like, oh, I have a life insurance plan with my wife. Everything's good. I have up to 4 life insurance plans, so I think we're good. What do you say to that?
So they said they have 4 life insurance plans.
Yeah, and I've gotten it before. They have two or they have a couple, so I feel like that changes it, and I don't know how to come at it when they have multiple.
Just say, first of all, we want to lower the bar, right? We want to lower their guard. We want to make them feel comfortable, right? So the first thing I would say is perfect. Most of my clients have, a policy or two in place. If you don't mind me asking, what's the purpose of having that many policies? And then dig a little bit. All you're going to do is ask the questions. The person that asks the questions is in control of the conversation, right? And then you could say, okay, well, I'm a broker. I have access to blah, 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 blah. And then at the end, you can just say, if I can put you in a better position and save you money, great. If not, no problem. Right. So I would just change the end of that. And then say, instead of saying, is that fair enough? I would say, if I can put you in a better position and save you some money with a better product, would that suit you better? Would that fit you better? Would that be okay? Does that make sense,
Yeah,
Sophie?
yeah, yeah.
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 So I would kind of use the same thing by, I would address the situation just by saying, okay, perfect. Most of my clients have a policy or two in place, and we all know that the average, or you can even combat them and say, that's it. Well, that I got 3 to 4 policies already. Oh, that's it. What are they going to do? Nobody's going to say, well, that's it, right? You're catching them off guard. Oh, well, that's it. Well, I don't know if you know this or not. Most Americans actually buy about 6 to 8 policies throughout their life for different purposes. And that's a true statement. You can Google it.
Crazy.
So I'm a broker. What I do is I shop around for you, customize something that best fits your situation, your needs, most importantly, fits your budget. And look, if I can find something to consolidate it and maybe possibly put you in a better position, maybe grow some cash value, would that be worth a small, simple conversation? Yes. Okay, great. I don't have time right now, or I have a few minutes right now before my next appointment. Do you have a few minutes? Yes. Okay, then go into a one call close. Or if they say, no, I don't have time right now, say, perfect, no problem. My next availability is, what time do you normally get back in the door from work? 5:30. What time does the wife usually get back in the door? 6 o'clock. Okay. I don't have a 6 o'clock. I do have a 6:30 or an 8:30. Which one best fits you? 8:30. Okay. Just go into setting the appointment. Does that help?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Any other objections? No?
I have another.
Throw them at me.
um, Here's another one that I get all the time, where you call them and they're like, I've gotten so many calls from this. I didn't sign anything. I don't know what you're talking about. You guys keep calling me.
Okay, so you can just say, so they don't remember filling it out.
Yeah, and they're getting a bunch of calls. So they start off, they're mad. I've gotten 10 calls about this. I didn't fill anything out.
Yeah, so you can go on that sheet and just go to, I didn't, where's it at here?
Oh, I think it was a little lower. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think you just passed it.
yeah, there we go. Not interested, not interested. I don't remember filling this out. I totally understand. I don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning. A lot of times my wife fills out stuff and I don't even know about it either. I'm just, I'm kind of playing the devil's advocate here, being on their side, right? To fresh your memory, this is the type of coverage that if something were to happen to you, you get hurt, sick, or injured, God forbid, pass away, it pays off the mortgage and protects your family. That's what you originally were looking for, right? Yeah. Okay. Or if you're doing final expense, you could say this one. You can even verify some information right there. Well, I got your address as, 123 Main Street. I got a mortgage amount here of 230,000. Is that still with Rocket Mortgage, or did you guys change mortgage companies yet? No, it's still with Rocket Mortgage. Okay, great. I don't have time right now to get into it, but I'm just calling to set up a time to go over the options with you. What time do you normally get back in the door from work? Just go right into setting the appointment. Okay. So everything is going to be, now these are all the basic rebuttals, right? And everybody might throw a curveball at you and give you the same type of a rebuttal, objection, but it may be, you may have to tweak it a little bit to put it into your own words, right? Like the person that you just said that, they get calls like this all the time, and I don't remember filling this out. They kind of give you 2 rebuttals all at once, right?
Mhm.
Great. That's actually exactly why I'm calling, is to get you off the list here. Most families typically fill out a couple of these, right? So they can shop and repair or shop and compare. Most likely you or your wife is like my wife. She loves to, shop around and compare. I'm a broker. I have access to about 30 plus A-rated carriers nationwide, blah, 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 right? Just go right into setting the appointment. Does that help you with that one?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Do you have another one for me?
Not that I can think of at this second.
I got one, Shawn.
Okay, Jeff.
Hey,
Bring it on.
one guy I was talking to a while back, he had a $900,000 mortgage. He was a personal injury attorney, and I was just doing some cold calling, whatever. I got the lead inadvertently, whatever. And he asked me, "Is this about insurance?" He goes, "Well," and I said, "Yes." He goes, "Well, if I wanted to, I could just pay the mortgage off." What would you say to that?
I'd say, okay, so what got you interested in filling out the form?
Oh, I don't know. I just took the call because
Yeah,
I thought it was from my mortgage
no,
company.
I would just ask them, okay, so what got you interested in filling out the form? Because I had the same situation, right? I'll just
Hmm.
kind of tell you a quick story. I had a guy that had an $800,000 house, and this lead was a year old. I bought it for a
Hmm.
dollar,
Hmm.
and um, I made a lot of money on this. I love this person. So, anyways, he was uh, he was in Minnesota, and he had a house worth like a lot of money, millions of or almost $1 million. And come to find out, he's like, I don't have a mortgage. And I said, so what do you mean you don't have a mortgage? What got you interested in filling out the form when you originally did that? And he said, well, actually, I do have a mortgage, but we opened up a HELOC, home equity line of credit, right?
Hmm.
So in some people's mind, their mortgage and the HELOC is a different situation, right? It's still a loan, but a
Hmm.
HELOC is a home equity line of credit, right?
Hmm.
So in other words, and on top of that, he wasn't able to qualify for any term life insurance because he's 78 years old. But he
Hmm.
made a lot of money and he wanted something to cover the HELOC if something were to happen to him. So we put
Hmm.
him into two whole life final expense policies that he qualified for, stacked him on top of that to get him the $75,000 worth of coverage that he wanted. And his premium was about $1,000 a month. And he was happy to pay it, no problem. Okay. So all you have to do is dig a little bit, right? My theory is if they're not going to hang up on me, I'm going to keep asking questions and chat with them and figure out a way that I can best help them out, right? Because on the other side of that lead, that name that's on a piece of paper is a real human that actually filled out the form, whether they remember it or not. And
Hmm.
the more you can picture them on the other side of there and visualize, what can I do to help this person get some coverage? And think about, if this person dies next week and I don't get them coverage, then that's on me because you
Right.
never know what's going to happen, right? And if my mom applied for coverage and I wasn't a life insurance agent and my mom applied for coverage, I would want somebody to be able to get her something to put in place so that I don't have to come out of pocket and pay for her funeral if something were to happen, right? I would want somebody, and my mom is stubborn, more stubborn than I am. And so I would want somebody to push a little bit hard to get her coverage just in case something were to happen, right? Obviously, I'm her son. I'd probably check it out, make sure everything's legit, read over the policy, that kind of thing. But I would want somebody to push a little bit hard to try to figure out a way to get her coverage. But originally, going back to what you talked about, Jeff,
Hmm.
you said that he doesn't even have a mortgage. So I would find out why he filled out the form. I would find out, what he was looking for. Okay. Were you looking for a cash value life insurance policy? Were you looking to use the mortgage protection for the living benefits? What were you looking for? Were you looking for an extra policy to leave something behind? Most people have two or three policies in place. They're just looking for a little bit of extra. Because if you think about it, people buy policies for different reasons throughout their life. They may buy a
Hmm.
$15,000 policy to cover their funeral, just
Right.
to cover a funeral when they're 20 years old. But now they're 30 years old, they have a family, they get a mortgage on a house. Now they need some term life insurance or an IUL to cover, or both, to cover them to pay off a mortgage if something were to happen to them. But guess what? Now they're making a lot of money and the wife doesn't work. Maybe now they're 40 years old. He's making a really, really good income, maybe 10,000 a month. She's a
Hmm.
stay-at-home mom. They don't have enough coverage So now they need to up their coverage to sustain a loss of income if he gets hurt, sick, injured, or passes
Hmm.
away, because his family relies on his income. But now maybe they're 60 years old, they don't have a mortgage anymore, they don't have an IUL, they don't need the term in coverage. Now they just need to pay for a funeral. And so maybe they just buy, final expense coverage to pay for a funeral so their loved ones don't have to pay for it. Or maybe they already have a final expense coverage policy. And guess what? They're grandma and grandpa, and they want to get some coverage for their grandkids. Or they just want to leave a little bit behind as like a last love letter to their five
Hmm.
grandkids, maybe
Right.
20,000 apiece, right?
Hmm.
Just to say, and these things that I'm going over with you are little ways that you can literally help them understand how they can get more premium, right? I
Hmm.
know this is kind of going into a whole nother topic here, but
Hmm.
if you're talking about a final expense and they only want 15,000 worth of coverage, you can ask them if they have a house, they have a mortgage, who's going to make the mortgage payments for the next 3 months after you pass away, or the next 6 months while the house is being sold after you pass away, right? Do you think we should leave an extra, 6,000? Let's say their mortgage payment is $1,000 a month. Do
Hmm.
you think we should leave an extra $6,000 left behind so your son can pay the mortgage so your house don't get foreclosed on and you lose all the equity in your house that goes to your family? Oh yeah, that might be a good idea, right? So you can find ways to add premium to help them in better ways. Okay.
Hmm.
I know I kind of got off on a tangent there, Jeff, but did I answer your question?
Uh, yes, I think I responded to him and I said, well, if you had the opportunity for your family to pay off the mortgage or the insurance company, who would you like to have pay off the mortgage, your family or the insurance company? I just kind of asked him. I mean, and I kind of went at it like more as a financial planner. Um,
Yeah,
and but he was yeah, but it wasn't a successful call. But I, I
okay.
like, but
That's a good way to put it, Who would you rather have pay off the mortgage? Would you rather have the life insurance company pay off the mortgage, or would you want your family to come out of pocket and have to pay it off with their cash?
right, right, yeah, yeah. That's a good, I mean, and then also too, I think that people, why would you, type, type all that money in the house? Number one, but number two, isn't the money that you've worked for all your life, you know, supposed to just go to your family or to your retirement? You know,
Right.
there's something like that, but yeah.
Sure. Any other objections? No? How about you,
Oh,
Kelly?
yeah, I have one more for you. So
Okay.
what about just the initial or kind of a change in their tone after you tell them that you're going to need their social security to make sure they're eligible? And like even if you're like this is just the process, no matter who you talk to, this is the information you're going to have to give, and this is what the insurance company needs to make sure you are who you say you are. They're still just very like I don't give my social to anyone over the phone.
Yeah. So you're going to get that every now and again, right? But if you believe that you're going to get that every time, you will get that every time. Why? Because you're
That's
putting
fair.
energy that is going to get that, right? If you believe that initially, that every single time you're going to help this person, most people understand that they have to give up their personal information in order to apply for insurance. But to answer your question, Joey, if you were to prepare them ahead of time, think about it this way.
Mm.
I don't know if you have any kids or don't have kids, but think about it this way. Um, if you have little kids and their bedtime is 8 o'clock at night and it's 7 o'clock at night. Well, first of all, let me back up. If their bedtime is 8 o'clock at night and you say, okay, it's bedtime, what are they going to do? They're going to be like, no, I don't want to go to bed. Go brush your teeth. No, I don't want to. I don't want to. Right. But If their bedtime's 8 o'clock at night and it's 7 o'clock at night, and you say, okay, it's almost bedtime. You got about an hour left. Now it's in their mind. Okay, no problem. I just said it, right? Just prepared them a little bit. Now it's 7:30. Okay, it's 7:30. You got about a half an hour left to bedtime. They don't even know how to tell time, maybe, right? Because they're so little. But you've already put it in their mind that it's coming. It's coming, right? And then maybe 15 minutes goes by and it's 7:45, and you say, okay, 15 minutes, it's time to go to bed. Let's prepare and let's go brush our teeth. Let's give grandma and grandpa, mom and dad a kiss, whoever. Okay, great. And then, you prepare them, and then all of a sudden, they sit down, watch a little bit more TV or whatever, read a book, and lights go dim a little bit. And then all of a sudden it's 8 o'clock, and you're like, okay, 8 o'clock, let's go to bed. Now it's no big deal because you've already prepared them along the way, right? And so if you prepare them along the way and let them know, because you know the objections that are already going to come up, then you don't have to worry about it, because if the objections come up, they're going to come up right when you prepare them, right? And so in the financial inventory, right when you're about to go through the financial inventory or about to open up an application, you can let them know, hey, in the application, this is life insurance. A lot of times I kind of put it to them to where, I have how do I say this? I have the attitude of, I'm not trying to make them feel stupid, but I want to make them feel like, everybody knows this. It's no big deal, right? And so I'll tell them, this is life insurance. They're going to check you out. They want to make sure that you're something that they want to invest in, because if you pass away, they got a big bill to pay. So they're going to check you out, and they're going to check your MVR, make sure that you don't, you're not a crazy driver, and, you got so many tickets that you're possibly going to kill somebody on the road next week. So the way they do that is through your social security number or through your driver's license number. And so they check your MVR to make sure who you are, that you're not taking out insurance in somebody else's name as well. And then they also are going to ask you for your social, because they want to make sure that you're healthy enough that you're going to live a while, so that they don't have to pay out that death benefit right away, and that you're not going to die the next day. And so they check you out through your MIB, the Medical Information Bureau. And then at the end of it, they're going to ask you how you want to pay for it. Obviously, it's insurance. You got to pay for it. So they're going to, ask you how you want to pay for it. And so they're going to ask you for your a financial institution or a banking in a bank, to be put on file, like an account number, a routing number. And then once you get approved, no money comes out today, but once you get approved, then at that point in time, they'll take that first payment. And then here's the best part. Then you're covered without having to pee in a cup, do a blood draw, or a medical exam. Pretty cool, huh? And I always throw that in there at the end. Pretty cool, huh? And then they'll say, yeah. And when they say, yeah, you just move right along. You just go on to the next step.
Yeah.
Right? So you already prepared them and got them interested, or got them familiar with what you're going to ask. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Any other objections? No? Okay. We'll end it right here. We kind of went overboard just a little bit. Right now is Grady's training call. Go to fflwatch.com. fflwatch.com. See you guys later. Have a great day.